welcome to the next episode of While in the Falklands from FITV. I am back from my travels.
Woo!
Yay! Thank you, Hannah. I know Thomas is not happy. I heard the podcast last week.
He's absolutely caught now.
Yeah. Now listen, I heard the podcast last week. So Hannah, we need to have a little chat. So when a boy petrel and a lady petrel fall in love, it's actually the lady petrel that has the egg.
What?
Not the boy petrel. To quote last week, you said, so I saw him and I got my camera out and then I filmed him laying an egg.
Oh no!
And I'm like,
I did that.
And all I could think of was, fantastic, we're going to sell that
Oh no!
for a lot of money.
To be absolutely fair to you though, neither Tom or I picked up on that and didn't comment either, so we obviously think that boys lay eggs too, so it's okay. It's just the whole office that's
didn't have very
going
good
mad.
sex education, clearly, when we were all in school.
No, not quite.
So tell me about your trip then, because did you do quite a few in a row, didn't you?
I did 3, 3 and 3 back to back, which was quite nice. So I did Pebble, Bleaker and Saunders, all in a trip. So when I came back, I was quite like laid back and relaxed and like, oh. And then all of a sudden after one day, I was like, right, back into stress work mode.
Do you think you have like, because I did a few islands a few years ago back, do you get like overload penguins? I smell another penguin.
Honestly, by the time I got to Bleaker halfway through, I was like, I don't really want to see another genty. Like I didn't mind seeing them, but I wasn't like wow anymore. The wow factor about penguins had gone. Apart from the king penguins at Saunders, they were great because they were little fluffy chicks.
How many have they got now?
3 little
About
chicks,
70, is
fluffy.
it? So,
Yeah, they've got quite a few. And they were all chasing each other around, and they're all like short, and their little wings were all short, and they're all fat and waddly.
So if anyone's listening to this who think, actually, I'd quite like to see some penguins in the wild and I'll come down to the Falklands, maybe I'll go on a cruise. That's lovely. But the cruise ship passengers who come in, and we've got the Zandam coming in this Sunday, they don't actually see a lot. What you need to do is you need to come down here. No, you need to come down here and book with a good holiday firm, such as the people who work next door to us. Other
Firms are available.
Other firms are available,
Yeah.
but Falklands Holidays will sort you out. And you come down and you go and sit
a couple of nights, don't you?
Yeah.
You're there for a couple of nights.
Go and sit in a pile of penguins, and they will come up to you, and you don't need huge long lenses.
Oh, you really don't. It's funny because you see all these tourists with these massive, expensive lenses and all this high-tech gear, and you think, you don't need that here. The wildlife will come to you. If you're quiet and you're on your own and you sit down, they'll come up to you.
Give them the due. They do get good photos with them. Those lenses are lovely.
And I would love one, and I'm not a green-eyed monster at all, but...
So, what's been happening while I was away?
So, we've been quite busy. I mean, we were talking on the podcast last week about how these guys were away on islands a lot of the time, and I'd been off and things like that. But when we seem to have managed to get by while you were away.
It's still here. It's still in one piece.
You had a little meeting with Mark Pollard, didn't you?
Yeah, that was this week. I did a follow-up with Emily Mark Pollard about his health checkups.
How did he get on? I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so something that the hospital is starting is they're being really sort of long-term and forward-thinking, which I think is really commendable because they're inviting people, I think it's over the age of 40, to come in and have a bit of a general health checkup about their blood pressure and that kind of thing. And that's to stop later down the line these people having future health problems. And also, I suppose the other side of it is that they're saving themselves an awful, like in the Falkland Islands, an awful lot of money because they're catching these things early and giving people the chance to change their lifestyle before they have to have medication, things like that. So Emily Mark Pollard, which in my opinion, I think this was a really brave and quite amazing thing to do. He came in and volunteered and said that to set an example, he wanted to go to the hospital and invited us to come along with him throughout the process of having one of these health checks done. And he himself sort of said, both in the interview and to us, that he knew that he had some lifestyle changes to make in order to make himself healthier. And he's just recently become a dad for the first time, I think. Yeah. So he wanted to really make sure he was as healthy as possible. So he went along to one of these checkups, and they did his blood pressure, they checked all different sorts of things, and then he went to the doctor, which was the catch-up I did this week, and they've given him some lifestyle changes that he can make, which will actually make him a healthier person in total. So I would really advise, if anybody is in that age range, I'm not quite there myself, that they should...
I was going to say, can we, is there anything for like a younger...
Well, I don't think so, because it's more about the as you get older, that sort of thing. But I mean, I'm sure us being, I mean, we're both in our 20s, can go along to the hospital and make an appointment with a nurse and ask for some general life advice on how to make ourselves healthier.
So I wouldn't mind getting some sort of nutritionist. You know, I think, especially here, because you don't have a lot of fresh fruit and veg and things like that, not a lot of sunlight, you miss out on some vitamins. And
yes, now I heard this a little while ago about... you know, you hear it from one person, then you hear it from another person, then by the time it gets to the third person, you start thinking, that vitamin D levels are quite low in people down in the Falklands.
There's a lot of that SADs.
Yeah, well, no, but vitamin D levels because the lack of, not lack of sunlight, because there is sunlight, but we don't tend to go outside maybe as much as we would if we were in the UK, perhaps. So and SAD as well, but there's seasonal affective disorder. But vitamin D levels, certainly.
I think
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, I think that might be quite accurate, because of the wind here, I find that people drive drive down the road, things like that, which I do understand, and I do it myself. But I think you miss on those I'm going to nip to the shop and run along the road like you might do in the UK. You miss those little bursts of sunlight that you might be getting.
This actually brings us on nicely to something that Mark Nightingale, the FIGO Sports Development Officer, is hoping to do in the next couple of months. He wants to do a walk to work day. Okay. So no driving for anyone, like a sponsored walk to work day, to kind of encourage people to stop getting in their car when they can actually walk it. And we always see him puffing up Philomel Street, which is a big hill in the mid-centre of town, with a pushchair, and he's pushing these kids up there.
He's two
always
children.
Walking. Yeah. And I think good for him. And it is, I think we take for granted the fact that we can just jump in the car and get anywhere. Well, it's actually quite walkable, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And do you know, in Paris, on the last Sunday of every month, the new sort of mayor that came in made a rule that nobody was allowed to drive their cars. And everybody, and people really, especially locals, obviously there was tourists and things that drove, but everybody upheld to it. And because I was there looking after children, and we used to take them out on Sundays, but instead we would have to walk places on the last Sunday of every month.
But I think the way to do it is whack a big tax on the fuel or something like that.
If they can do
I know we've got really cheap fuel, but whack it on there and stop people getting in the cars.
If they can do it in Paris, then they can do it in Stanley.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to do my little bit. For a long time I've been thinking about doing the Couch to 5K. I'm not a runner, and this is no exaggeration, because I know people, will exaggerate a little bit for effect, but I cannot run for more than about 20 seconds. I just can't do it. And there's a couple of ladies who are setting up a Couch to 5K, and all I've done so far, that I've been thinking about it for a long time, is actually download the apps. I've downloaded 2 apps.
What did you choose for your voice? Have you chosen?
No, but I think I'm going to go with Sarah Milliken.
Sarah Milliken, I went with her. She's good.
She was great.
She's so good.
So they're starting up that, so that's next Tuesday. So I'm going to document it on my phone and,
vlog style?
Vlog style.
Is that with
see how it goes.
Bev?
No, Natasha and Andrea, I think. But so I'm going to have a go at that, which brings us neatly on. Well, it doesn't. To one of the things I did when I was in the UK. I went to the UKOTA student conference. So one of my daughters is currently at university in the UK, and I think about 14 Falkland Islands students went along to this. Which is the UK Overseas Territories Association. They had a student conference. It was a really nice day. It was incredibly well organised. It was at the Natural History Museum. Such a great idea. I mean, besides what they were doing that day, but just to get all the students together.
Definitely.
So you had all the Falkland Islands students and like British Virgin Islands and Cayman and Bermuda and Turks and Caicos and all that. They were all together.
And they'd all made some films, hadn't they?
They had all made it. So there was a little film festival to start off with, and they'd all had to make a 1-minute film by themselves on their island. So Connie, when she was down here, she filmed, and unfortunately it was winter, and it started to snow, and her film's called War, Wind and Wildlife. So war is obviously, she filmed the war memorials. Wind, we all just have to stand outside, don't you? But wildlife, she wanted the penguins. And it started to snow, and because I'm such an old woman when it comes to driving, I refused to drive to Gypsy Cove to go and film the penguins. So the wildlife she's got in it are these ducks, they're in the harbour. But it's all very grey. It's beautiful. I know Falklands landscape is beautiful, but it is very grey, isn't it?
Mm.
So hers was the first film one, that was great. The second film one was its Cayman Islands. Blue skies, turquoise waters, white sandy beach, everyone's smiling and outside, you know. And then the third one was British Virgin Islands. Blue skies, turquoise waters, white sandy beaches, everyone outside smiling. And then the fourth one was Turks and Caicos. Blue skies, turquoise waters, white sandy beaches. So I just wonder whether all the students from the other overseas territories were watching Connie's film going,
good God, glad we don't live there. Yeah.
Where is the blue in this?
Yeah.
But no, it was really good, and she did really well. I didn't help her at all with it. It's all her own work, and you know, she did a good job. And then they had a chat with to some scientists talking about some specimens, because obviously they've got the squid at the Natural History Museum, the giant squid. They called him Archie, I think.
Oh, I like that name.
Yes.
There's something coming up soon, isn't there, Christmas time, that you've been busy organising. Do you want to mention it?
What's that? Oh, well, the Christmas Challenge concert.
Drag quiz.
Oh, the drag quiz.
I didn't know if you wanted to mention it or not.
Do you know what? We're going to be such a busy weekend.
Paula's been very busy.
Well, first of all, right, on the Friday, we're doing the Christmas Challenge concert organised by Maurice and Debbie from the Seamen's Mission, which is going to be fantastic. And they're having it at the town hall. Were you here? No, neither of you were here last year.
Why is it called a challenge concert? Is that people have to do different
There's
things?
no prizes, but basically Maurice, if you're interested, Maurice will say, right, you're doing this Christmas song and you're doing that Christmas song. And you get up with your group. And last year, for instance, the Scout group did the 12 Days of Christmas, and ended with an earwig in my cup of tea, and made this big earwig thing. So everyone, and the police get involved, and the fire brigade sang "Smoke Gets It." Well, it's not really a Christmas song, but anyway, all in their breathing apparatus. It was just really, really good, really well organised, and a great evening. So FITV are going to take part. And we've got a little choir.
Wonderful.
Yes. So that's all I'm going to say so far, because I think we need to keep it under wraps for a bit. But yeah, we'll get on and do that.
And then what's after?
So yeah, the drag quiz on Saturday is organised mostly by Dolly Lachey. It's basically to raise funds so we can put on a big show like we did last year for the Drag Extravaganza, but in April probably next year for Pride. So yeah, we just got to raise some funds so we can buy.
It sounds great fun though. It sounds like quite an interactive quiz, and I know you probably don't want to give
any
of the questions away, but it's quite
it's not just to sit down with a pen and write it. There is some activities there as well. But anyway, let's move on, because this weekend, talking of big weekends, this weekend is going to be huge as well. What's happening this weekend?
This weekend we've got the football, which is quite important. We've got football on the Saturday, which is Falklands. Our local Falkland Islands Football Team versus the FA 11 team. I didn't realise XI in Roman numerals meant 11, because when I did the voiceover for the What's On Guide last week, I said 6.
Oh no! Oh no!
But then I changed it. Someone's like, that's wrong. But yeah, no, they've got a big football match.
And the people who are left,
exciting.
I know, and the people
Tom's
who are
very
left
excited.
here know nothing about football. I said to Steve this morning, will I recognise any of them? And he went, I don't know.
One of them's a relation to the England football
it's his little brother. Yeah.
But apart from that, no idea. But I'm hoping that they might not know how to play here, because it's very windy here, so they might not be used to it. The pitch is very lumpy, so they might not be used to that. They're probably used to fancy turf and all astroturfs and this and that, and lovely sunshine and blue beaches and
nothing to do with skill. Lovely.
So I'm hoping that our team will have the advantage in some respects, because they've played here all their life, whereas the elements might be mean.
I don't know. How much do you know about football, Katie?
Yeah, quite a bit.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, not too much, but I've supported Sunderland all my life, and then not to reveal too much, but I used to be a wag, so that was good fun back in the day. So yeah, I've been to quite a lot of football matches and played a little bit when I was younger. And no, I quite enjoy it. I can see how important this weekend is, and that it's really amazing that it's happening and that they're coming down, because I think it'll be some really, really good sort of publications and some really good for the Falkland Islands to have this team come down. Will hopefully teach the FA 11 team that are coming all about the Falkland Islands.
Yeah, so I hope you're listening to this, listener who likes sport and asks us to do more sport. So you've got the most sportiest people talking about this.
They've got a posh do at Government House afterwards. So I'm wondering.
That's at the museum. That's at the museum.
Yeah,
that's at the museum. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. In their muddy kit.
So Sunday, the Zandam's in. That's 1,820 passengers. Remembrance Sunday, which is quite tricky. You're going down to the Victory Green, aren't you, to take the...
Yes, I'm getting the two gun fires in the 2-minute silence, which should be quite nice, and hopefully I'll get a shell.
And the rest of us are going to be up at the Cross of Sacrifice, filming around there. Then there's the food festival at the Town Hall at 12, which you're doing, Hannah, aren't you?
Yes, I like food a lot.
Okay.
So I'm going there, but this time I'm going to go there extra early, because last time all the food went within 5.
It was very popular,
so
wasn't
I might actually get there at 11:30.
Yeah, so it's very popular. Cathedral Bells at 12:30. I'm a little bit worried about that, because the ladder to get up there is quite narrow and quite...
I'll take a phone, put it in my pocket, and use my agility and Spider-Man up the ladder.
Yeah, no job. One of the easiest.
So when the bells that are up in the tower are not the... so I'm going to demonstrate mine, how you ring bells. So it's not the one with like a long rope and the bit of carpet that you pull and then you let it go all the way up to the top and then you pull it and then you bring it up
that's
again.
what I thought it was.
No, these ones are fixed. So they've got the ropes and the carpet bit on the rope, but they're like 5 in a row because they've got 5 bells, and they literally just pull on them like that.
Right, okay.
I'm pulling on the ropes.
She looks like she's milking a cow.
Like I'm milking a cow. Yeah, as opposed to the one where you pull it down. I used to do bell ringing, right? And you pull it down and then you let it go. The funniest thing about bell ringers, so you're all in a row, and then the one at the start is called the treble, and they go, treble's going, and then as they pull it down and let it go, they go, and it's gone. And then everyone starts. And because I was a lot younger and a lot thinner, I only rang the 1 and the 3, and the 3's quite heavy to ring, and I was ringing the 3, and the guy who was standing next to me, he was helping me, making sure I was okay, because I was only a novice, and he was talking to someone else, and I was getting faster and faster and faster as this thing, and then all of a sudden all these dead pigeons and poo and everything just fell down from the tower down on me. It was horrible. I never went again.
Because I always thought you'd get really bad rope burn from bell ringing. I never really quite understood.
No, you just pull it and then you let it go, and then you sort of catch the end of the rope as it lifts up, and then you pull that again, and then it comes all the way down, and then it sort of brings up, and you catch the carpet bit as it goes up, and then you pull the carpet.
I want to go and have a go, but it's not one of those bells at the cathedral.
It's not those bells at the cathedral. No, it's these the milking cow ones. Yeah, so that's that. And then in the afternoon, there's the MPC are playing the FA 11. And then you've got a memorial in the afternoon.
Yes.
At Sapper Hill, but we're
yes,
not
I do.
too sure about that one.
I think that's to do with...
It's the engineers,
the engineers
isn't it?
again,
The
but I
engineers.
saw the engineers on the...
So we'll wait and see about that. Yeah, so let's have a look at my list. Oh, yeah. So next week... you're going off to Pebble.
Yes.
For four days.
Yes, and I'm never coming back. I might just stay there forever.
Well, I've never been to Pebble, but it looks
nice.
really, really nice.
It's really, really, really nice. And the people, Ricky and his wife at the lodge are lovely. Haven't met Dot and Alex yet, but I'm sure they're lovely too. Very friendly, very helpful. So I'm excited to go back. And it's very nice accommodation.
And you're going to Weddell the week after, aren't you?
Yeah, that's because the island trips that these guys went on, I've got one this week, the week after, is when I go away to Weddell. Yeah. So, but I'm a bit nervous about it because I have a phobia of birds, and I'm generally nervous around wildlife, but it's all about conquering those fears, so I'm going to go for it. And I do agree that it is very interesting, and I am really excited to be able to go.
You're going to see Patagonian fox. That would be really good.
Yes, you might, and they might have pups as well.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah, but they're very elusive, so it'll be a case of...
Camping out. Night vision. Camping out like Ray Mears underneath.
No,
just
not making too much of a noise and not moving too much.
Creeping about.
But they've got at Weddell. They've got one of the penguins that looks like it's sort of washed out a bit. So it's not,
albino one.
I can't remember what they're called.
Is it the albino one?
No, it's not. It's called a Lucy. I don't know, something. But it's
Malagenite?
not. No, it's a Gen 2.
A washed
but
out
rather than
Gen
be
2.
white, completely white, it's not. It's sort of. It just looks like the ink ran out as it was being printed. Really, that's all it looks like.
Okay. I'll make sure to.
And Parliamentary Week next week. I don't think we've ever had a Parliamentary Week.
I think it'll be terribly exciting.
You spoke to Stacey Bragg about it.
Yes, I think it'll be good. What it is it's a group of it's different debates on different topics with a panel of people. We'll be discussing these said topics.
Chaired by FITV.
Chaired by Richard
Talking
Cockwell,
Points, Richard Cockwell, yeah.
who is great. And then the members of the public will be able to come in with their questions.
Okay. And one of them's on the single constituency, isn't it, on the Wednesday?
Yes, I think that would be good. I'm quite excited for the role of the MLA as well, because what do they actually do? Yeah. I think that would be a good one, because they seem to... They obviously do a lot in the background, but not a lot of people know exactly what they do and what are their responsibilities and their roles within government. So
I think as soon as we're opening government and teaching people about politics and giving people a chance to learn about politics, it's a good thing, especially young people, because you want to have people voting from a young age and voters that will vote for life, so that we're all exercising our rights with that, because especially women died for us to be able to vote, so I think it's really important that we all...
I tell my girls every time.
Destroy your ballot paper or vote.
Because they'll be doing,
every time.
I think it leads up quite nicely. Mark Pollard is hoping to do an open government. He still hasn't done it, but the open government, like a couple of days or a session a week where people can come in and see what's going on and what they're actually doing.
Yeah, all exciting stuff.
And sounds like they're kind of the Falkland Islands, not totally, but potentially leading the way a little bit in front of places like the UK with opening up the government and getting more people engaged in politics and things like that.
And you said you'd got... because obviously I'm really into books. When you said you'd got an issue with a book,
I had a problem with that, because obviously the podcast listeners have heard all about our books that we read. But recently I've just finished reading a really, really wonderful book called When God Was a Rabbit, and I loved it and thought it was great and all the rest of it. But there was one day when I was reading it and they talked about something really quite serious and emotional. And as I read it, it was actually to do with 9/11, and I read through the protagonists going through that. And after I finished reading it, I sat and read for about an hour, and after that I felt really sad in my book. You know how you were saying a couple of weeks ago how you read for enjoyment and you read to sort of escapism and that kind of thing. And although I agree that it's really important that we read about these things, and now I look back and think that it was a wonderful book and I'm so glad that that was included, it was just crazy how much it affected me after reading that. For a couple of hours afterwards, I felt awful and felt really sort of sad and caught up in this book, and I just think it shows how much books can affect us and that kind of thing. It's really interesting.
You say it was a bit like, you felt it was a little bit like To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yeah, well, I'm a huge To Kill a Mockingbird fan. I've got tattoos of it written all over me, but I find that this was set, it was almost like a more modern British To Kill a Mockingbird, just the story about relationships, all different kinds of relationships, and I think stories about male and female young siblings and them growing up, I find are really interesting, and what goes on, and it was like that, the same as To Kill a Mockingbird. The destroying of innocence, that kind of thing.
Yeah, now that last sentence has really gone, no, I'm not reading that. What are you reading?
I'm not reading, I'm terrible at the moment. I'm not reading, I'm knitting and I'm watching. I'll tell you what I'm watching.
No, tell us about your knitting, because you were just finishing a jumper when I last...
I'm on a different jumper now.
Oh,
I got distracted. I've got 2 sleeves left on my old jumper, and now I'm on a different jumper because I found some really nice wool, and I say wool, it's not really wool, it's like that soft vella fake wool
Yeah.
from Falklands Farmers, mega cheap. Started knitting it up, and I'm knitting this plain little jumper, and it's all like velvety and nice and snuggly.
Nice.
So I'm on my front bit now of it, and then I've just got 2 sleeves left, and then it's done.
I was in the UK, and I went into a shop, and I won't say what shop it is, and I thought, oh, that's a really nice jumper. I looked at it, 75 quid. I thought,
Wow.
oh, blooming paying that. So I went.
Oh, it's easier to do it yourself.
Yeah, so I bought a pattern. Wool cost me about 30 quid because I did buy quite expensive wool. But yeah, so that's
What are you knitting at the moment then?
Well,
Are
that's
you in the
what I'll be
middle of
knitting next. Knitting next is my V-neck.
Well, we have to put a picture of your previous knits up. Your knits with Steve that you've done in the
No,
past.
because he won't wear it. In
Was
fact,
it the snot green?
listener, what you need to know is I knitted a grey jumper, which was a bit huge. Actually, Thomas wears it now.
Yeah.
That jumper's lovely.
He loves it, Tom.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. If you want to look at what we've been doing this week, you need to log on to fitv.co.uk and have a look at episode number 402, which went up last night, didn't it?
It did. It's just finishing its business now.
It's
so
just finishing
it'll
its business, so it should be up and ready for you to watch. And we'll join us next week.
See you later.
See you
Bye.
later.